What's up, y'all? It's Moosh here, and I haven't made videos in a while. That's because I was really busy with graduating from college. After that, I did the Disney College program, and now I'm in grad school, but I thought I'd start making videos again. And today, we're going to be talking about the Disney College program and the web-based interview and how to pass that. To give you a little bit more context, I did the Disney College program as soon as it started back again. I got to be one of the first people that lived at Flamingo Crossing Village. And I did the Fall Advantage program for 2021, working at Magic Kingdom. So going into the web-based interview is going to happen right after you finish your application and you move forward. The interview is going to be like an online quiz. It's going to be timed, and it's going to ask you basically a lot of character and personality-based questions. From my experience of when I took the quiz, a lot of the questions were along the lines of personality, of like whether you like to work in a fast-paced environment or whether you like to have a much more slower environment or not, things like that. A lot of questions were also related to customer service, asking you what type of customer service do you give, how do you solve problems, and they were multiple choice, and some of them were Likert questions of like, I'm most likely to do this. A lot of questions were also situational that had to do with like how you would work in an environment. Some questions were like, a child gets hurt, what do you do? I think one of the biggest things that's very important when answering these questions is to be yourself. You don't want to answer that you work well in a fast-paced environment when you actually don't, and then you get put in a location that's extremely busy. That's not fun for anybody, and you're not going to have the best experience. I think one of the best things you can do is be completely yourself, obviously in a professional manner, and also be consistent with your answers. If you get very similar questions and you answer differently, that is going to be a red flag, and it's going to show that you're not paying attention to the quiz, and you're going to fail the web-based interview. For example, in one of the questions, if you say you like to wake up early and show up early to work, and in another question you say you are typically late to work, obviously that's going to affect how your question values are being graded. Another thing I always recommend is when you're answering, don't stay in the middle ground. Try to go much more towards the answer where you're going and stay strong. Use a lot of the strongly agree and agrees more than the neutral answers, because that way the web-based interview actually gets an idea of who you actually are. When answering the questions, I always recommend looking at the 5 keys for Disney, and one of the first keys is safety. Always keep that in mind when answering a lot of the situational based questions. For example, if they're asking questions about what do you do when a guest gets hurt, one of the first priorities is always going to be safety. So keep that in mind when you're answering those questions too. So some of the biggest things I recommend doing is being extremely authentic and answering the questions how you can be. That way you get the best fit role for yourself, obviously. Always use a lot more agrees and strongly agrees rather than much more neutral answers, and also just being consistent with your answers. That way you have the highest probability of passing the web-based interview with a higher score and have a much more likely ability to be hired onto the internship program. These are the things I use for my web-based interview, and I passed it, and obviously I got to do the whole program. I got done in January, and I'm back in grad school. So obviously the biggest thing is be authentic, be consistent with your answers, and also use a lot more strongly, a lot of the strong answers rather than using a lot of the neutral ones. And also just try to not take it seriously and just take it like any other quiz. The more authentic you are, the easier it's going to be, and you should pass as long as your answers are reasonable. I hope you do well, and if you like this video, hit that subscribe button, and hope y'all have a good day.